So the other day I was looking for video ideas and one of my subscribers, Mo, said you should come up with a video that centers around fragrances that surprised you. So ones that you got or ones that I got and I was just like, wow, I was not expecting that. And so this video, I'm going to be doing 5 of those. So without further ado, let's get it. Alright everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude. You guys know all that. Just like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and if you like my content, consider following me on Instagram and TikTok. Again, I was looking for ideas for videos now that we're waiting for all the new releases to come out. And one of my subscribers, Mo, was like, why don't you talk about fragrances that surprised you? Like when you got them, you were like, I was not expecting that to happen. Or I tried them out, I wasn't liking them, and then as I wore them, they grew on me and surprised me that way. And so I have 5 different fragrances here that are going to be ones that are either going to grow on you or are not going to be what you're going to expect. Starting with the first one here, this one, it grew on me, but not only that, I was surprised because of the line that it's in. It doesn't smell really anything like the line. This is by Dolce & Gabbana. It is the one Luminous Night. So if you see that, the bottle is really nice. It has the Middle Eastern writing on it. It says it's exclusive edition. So there's the one EDP, the one Intense, and then they have their exclusive edition that has 3 of them, I believe, and they're the Middle Eastern exclusive editions. I know there's other ones like the one gray and stuff like that, and the one gold. This one is along with Royal Night and Mysterious Night. Mysterious Night's the one with rose. I have not tried the Royal Night. So the one Luminous Night I wanted to get because I love the bottle. Also because it's centered around amber and dates, which is really unique. So when I first got this in, it was not at all what I was expecting. I knew it was going to be heavier, darker, smoky, stuff like that, but I did not expect how dark of a fragrance this was going to be. So first I'm going to give you the notes so you can understand a little bit of what's in this. The main notes in Luminous Night are dates, amber, incense, and sandalwood. So this is an ambery, sweet, dark, smoky fragrance, as I was already saying. When I first got this in, honestly, when I first sprayed it, I was sitting there thinking to myself, this fragrance is dark. I don't know when I'm going to wear this. I know my wife didn't like it very much when I first wore it. I was kind of hit or miss. I liked it. I didn't love it. And I've actually heard that from quite a few people. Not just myself. I've seen it on reviews. I know Jensen said the same thing. He liked it at first, but didn't love it. And then all of a sudden it grew on him. And I didn't get this for about a year or 2 after he reviewed it. But with that said, I got this in. It was nice. It's centered around amber. It has a nice incense note in there. It has that sandalwood. As it gets to the dry down, that darkness does dissipate a bit, but it is a dark fragrance through and through. It is beast mode. I would say not a full room filler depending on how you're spraying, but it is going to last 8+ hours, and it's also going to project above average for about 5 or 6 of those. If you spray it heavy, it will fill up a room though. So when you first spray this on, you definitely get that heavy amber. You get those dates, which the dates are what kind of confused me because I've never smelled dates in a fragrance before. They come off like a very warm and dark fruitiness, but it's not like a fruitiness you would get from something like a plum or an apple or something like that. It's a different, unique style of fruit that I can't quite explain. It adds even more to the smokiness. It's weird to say that, but it's an amber smoky fragrance right in the opening. There's a little bit of woods creeping underneath, a little bit of musk, but with that said, it is a dark amber smoky fragrance with those dates creeping in there. A little tiny bit of freshness, but more dark. As you get further into the fragrance, that smoky vibe dies down a bit as it settles on your skin. And the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th time that I wore the one Luminous Night, it got even sweeter. It got a little bit fruitier. I got used to that smoky, dark nuance, and I fell in love with the fragrance. It surprised me, as not only did it surprise me on how dark it was when I first got it, but it surprised me on how much I started to love this fragrance as I wore it more and more. I still do find it situational. It's more of a nighttime fragrance for sure, fall and winter. With that said, I think it is a great fragrance if you're looking for something unique, Middle Eastern style, dark, amber, resinous, smoky. That incense definitely is in there. It gets a nice woodiness, a little bit of a creaminess in the dry down. It's a really nice fragrance. That is the one Luminous Night, the first one that surprised me. So going into the second one on my list, this is going to be one that my wife absolutely loves. That it took me a while, if you've been watching my channel, it took me a while to come back to the Acqua di Gio DNA. So this isn't an Acqua di Gio. I wore Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette all through high school. It got redundant for me. Profumo, Profondo, Profondo Lights, all redundant at that point in time for me. I finally overcame that hurdle. If you've been watching my channel, I now own pretty much all. I think I do own all of them except for the Eau de Parfum. I don't like that. I think it smells like a hockey bag. With that said, this next one is the one that I picked up that got me over that hurdle because it dials down the Acqua di Gio DNA a lot. And so this is my favorite from the line by Armani. It is Acqua di Gio Absolu. So the best way that I put this, it is a woody aquatic version of the Acqua di Gio DNA if you dial it down. So the main notes that you get in this are sea notes, woods, amberwood, and grapefruit. So the way I really explain it is kind of like Rosassi Hawass. If you don't have that fruity vibe into it, it's a watery aquatic that is sweet. It is pretty much for any season, and it has a little bit of that Acqua di Gio DNA. While they are a little bit separate, obviously, it's just in that same realm. So if you like something like Rosassi Hawass, you should definitely try this. If you don't like the Acqua di Gio DNA, still try this because it does go down a different path. When you first spray it on, you get those watery aquatics. You get a sweetness like an amber from that amber wood. As you get about 2-3 minutes, that grapefruit pulls in and it gets even sweeter, fresher, almost a little bit of a citrus vibe. But this is a warmer, watery aquatic. So if you want to take a watery aquatic, get it a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer, a little bit woodier. That is what you get from this. So you get that amber wood creeping in, you get some musks, you get that grapefruit all mixing together to make a nice, fresh citrus watery aquatic that has a deep, warm woods. So Acqua di Gio Absolu definitely did that to me. And again, it only has about 5% of that DNA from the Acqua di Gio in it. So that's why I love this fragrance. Even though, again, I do own all of them, I do appreciate a lot of them, this one is my favorite. So that's Acqua di Gio Absolu. Going into the third one, which is a new one here. This one won't be a surprise to anybody who's been on my channel for the last month. This one surprised the hell out of me. So I do like Lost Cherry. I know a lot of people are hit or miss on that. I like that by Tom Ford. I think that it's not worth the price. I think the cherry's too synthetic to be that price, and you can just pick up Kayali's Burning Cherry instead, which is like 86 bucks at Sephora. Smells very similar, or Dossier's Amber Cherry to be able to get that same feel. While this one was just released, I was the first one to review it on YouTube, and this is by Tom Ford. It is Cherry Smoke. So Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke, I love this. I absolutely adore it. So it's a more realistic, darker, deeper cherry mixed with leather and woods. That is pretty much what this fragrance is centered around. There's notes in there like olive branch and olive. It just doesn't make sense. This one is definitely surrounded by a darker, it's like a more masculine, more realistic version of the original Lost Cherry. So the main notes you get in Cherry Smoke are cherry, leather, smoke, and woods. There's also a saffron accord in here that you can pick up that gives it a little bit more of a sweetness, but it comes and it goes very quickly in the opening. But if you want just a dumbed down version of what Cherry Smoke is, when you spray it on, you get a nice woods. I thought it was oud in my original description, or Gaiac wood, because it is a deeper, darker woods that is mixed with that realistic cherry. And then you also do get like a leather nuance underneath it, and then some smokiness. So the smokiness is coming from the incense. It really does provide a nice deeper unisex leaning masculine fragrance because it still does have that cherry. As you work your way further into the fragrance, the woods dial back, the leather dials back, the smoke dials back. As you do get a little bit more of that cherry pulling in, and it sweetens it up a bit. And then you also do get almost like a vanilla nuance as you work your way into the dry down. This is the longest lasting of the 3 that are out because now there is an electric cherry. This one lasts about 6 to 7 hours at minimum to me. It stays on my clothes. I spray it on clothes, so it stays on my clothes 8 to 10 hours. Cherry Smoke is a fantastic option if you did like Lost Cherry, but you want something more masculine, something more wearable that has a wood, smoky, and leather accord. It is really nice. Cherry Smoke by Tom Ford. Going into the fourth one. So I talked about this on my channel not long ago. I just picked it up over the holidays. I've been wanting to get it for a long time, and I finally did because about a year ago, a friend of mine sent me a decant, and I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate the fragrance. It was more heavier on the iris than it is now, which it still is heavy on the iris, but there's something different about it, and I don't know what it is, but Mo sent me a decant of it, and I was like, I have to have that. So I went out and bought it the next day by Dior. This is Dior Homme Intense. And so the reason that this surprised me is, again, because a year ago I hated it. It was that makeup-y iris, which it still is, but there was just, it was so much of it. So the Dior Homme Parfum is like a spicy makeup-y iris. I still appreciate it. I don't find myself wearing it. This one I find myself wearing and have it in the same realm as how much I wear it as PRADA L'Homme Intense, Valentino UOMO Intense, stuff like that. It's a more wearable version of the Parfum, in my opinion. It's also sweeter. The main notes in Dior Homme Intense: lavender, iris, pear, cedar, and ambrette. So when you first spray it on, you get a sweetness. You get that pear. It almost comes off. There's like a mixture between the iris, the pear, and the lavender that almost comes off like cacao. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's a bit of the ambrette in there as well. But this is an iris makeup-y fragrance, and that's why they only sell it in Europe, because it's not something that really appeals to the general public in North America and other places. It's definitely a higher class fragrance. It's one that you can wear pretty much all year round, but I consider it more of a nighttime fragrance. It's also beast mode. Dior Homme Intense is a really heavy iris fragrance with that lavender and a sweet pear that also has that nice ambrette, giving it a little bit of a warm spice. As you get to the dry down, you do get some woods pulling in there and some musk. But with that said, Dior Homme Intense is just a sweet iris fragrance. Kind of just has that sweet nuance from the pear and the ambrette. It is really, really a surprising fragrance to me about how much I personally love it now, when I actually hated it last year. And so I really love it. I hope that you guys can at least get a sample decant. This is not worth a blind buy, in my opinion, still at that point. Maybe it's just because my nose has matured over the time that I've spent with the 300 and some fragrances that I own now. But Dior Homme Intense is definitely a love for me now. Going into the last one, this one was a complete shocker. I hated this line. From the day one, I got a decant when I first started my channel from a big box from Macy's, and it was of the original and 2 other ones, and they were all the fresh ones from this line, and they were all super florally. They were kind of dated. I didn't like them, so then Eddie, one of my subscribers, thank you Eddie, sent me a decant of this and 2 others from this line, and I fell in love with this one by Issey Miyake, rest in peace. This is Leau Dissey Noir Ambre, or Leau Dissey Pour Homme Noir Ambre. Grand Soir by MFK is more centered around the amber vanilla. It's more on the sweet side. This is more on the darker, heavier side. So the main notes in Noir Ambre are amber, vanilla, leather, cinnamon, and saffron. There's also nutmeg in this and other woods and spices, but it's an amber-centric fragrance. It's definitely one that you can wear more in fall, winter, and spring, but I could also see myself wearing it night times in the summer. Again, I find it to be more of a signature fragrance because it has that amber and vanilla in there, but it also does have some aromatics, providing almost a bit of freshness. And then you also do get that very unique spice. The saffron gives it a little bit of a sweetness. It's a sweet fragrance. It's a little bit dark. It's deep. It's heavy. I really, really was surprised when I got this because, again, I thought I was going to hate it. And as soon as I sprayed it on, I was like, yeah, that's one that I'm going to be wearing for quite a long time. I've worn it about 4 times now. And now that I'm smelling it, it reminds me of something else, but I can't quite think of what it is. It's the sweetness in here. Reminds me almost like Stronger With You, absolutely, in the background. But there's also that ambery, dark, unique spice in here as well. But if you like ambery fragrances that have some unique spices, you have some woods going into the base, Noir Ombre by Dissey is a must buy in my opinion, and from what I hear, I think it's discontinued. I did find it on Fragrance Buy for about 70 bucks, but this bottle is really ugly, and all of them really are. But with that said, it's the juice inside that matters, and I absolutely love Noir Ombre. Really surprised because I hated the line until I smelled that. Then I smelled Polaris, and I can't remember the other one, and all of them were actually really good. I guess it was just the freshies I don't like from the line because, as you guys know, I don't love florals. But yeah, that one is really good. That is Noir Ombre. Those are the ones that have surprised me. Tell me in the comments what fragrances in all of these are going to last you over about 7 to 8 hours. Like Noir Ombre lasts me 8. Just to get that out of the way. But let me know in the comments which fragrances that you got that you either hated at first and then you ended up loving, or something that surprised you about them in the chat. But thank you guys so much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with another video. Peace out.